Good morning. I, Dr. Monica Reddy, Assistant Professor in the Department of Pediatrics and Member Secretary Institute Research Cell, AIIMS Bibinagar, take great pleasure welcoming you all to this momentous occasion of the first Institute Foundation Day celebrations. As we embark on today's celebrations, let us first extend a warm welcome to our distinguished guests who have graciously joined us on this occasion. We are privileged to have with us as the chief guest Padma Shri Professor Dr. Yogesh Chawla sir, Professor Emeritus and ex-Director PGMR Chandigarh. Sir will be joining us shortly. Joining him as our esteemed guest of honor is Professor Dr. Meenu Singh ma'am, Executive Director and CEO AIIMS Rishikesh, and also Professor Dr. GVS Murthy sir, President Rasho Foundation and ex-Director Indian Institute of Public Health, Hyderabad. I request ma'am and sir to please take their seats on the dais. I also request Professor Dr. Vikas Bhatia sir, Executive Director and CEO AIIMS Bibinagar, to join the guests on the dais. I request Professor Dr. Suryanarayan Raju sir, Chairperson IEC. We are also honored by the President of Professor Dr. George A. D'Souza, President AIIMS Bibinagar, who has joined us virtually. I also request the following to please come and take their seats on the dais. Professor Dr. Rahul Naran, Dean Academics, AIIMS Bibinagar. Professor Dr. Sangeeta Sampath, Dean Research, AIIMS Bibinagar. Professor Dr. Nitin Ashok Jones, Dean Examination, AIIMS Bibinagar. Dr. Vipin Davis, Deputy Director Administration, AIIMS Bibinagar. And Professor Dr. Abhishek Arora sir, Medical Superintendent, AIIMS Bibinagar. Now I request our Dean Academics, Dr. Rahul Naran sir, to welcome our guest of honor, Dr. Meenu Singh ma'am, with a sapling. I request our Dean Examination, Dr. Nitin Ashok Jones sir, to welcome Dr. GVS Murthy sir. I request Dr. Sangeeta Sampath ma'am to welcome Dr. Suryanarayan Raju sir. I request Dr. Sangeeta Sampath ma'am to welcome our director, Dr. Vikas Bhatia sir. Director Vikas Bhatia sir to welcome our President, Dr. George D'Souza sir. I request Sangeeta Sampath ma'am to accept the sapling on the behalf. I request Dr. Mudula ma'am to present the sapling to our Dean Academics, Dr. Rahul sir. Dr. Marvin ma'am to present the sapling to our Dean Research, Dr. Sangeeta Sampath ma'am. Dr. Kapil Kamble sir to welcome our Dean Examination, Dr. Nitin Ashok Jones sir. Dr. Prashant to welcome our Deputy Director Administration, Dr. Vipin Davis. Dr. Gerard to welcome our Medical Superintendent, Dr. Abhishek Arora. Thank you. On this very date a year ago, on 8th March 2023, the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, laid the foundation stone of our institute in a virtual ceremony, marking a significant milestone in our journey. Today, as we gather to celebrate our first Institute Foundation Day, we stand in gratitude for the foresight and commitment that have shaped our institute. AIIMS Bibinagar, established with a vision to achieve excellence in medical education, healthcare and research, stands today as a beacon of hope and healing. We now commence our celebrations with the ceremonial lighting of the lamp, symbolizing the dispelling of darkness and the spreading of knowledge, purity and wisdom. May I invite our guests and dignitaries on the stage to proceed for lamp lighting. Of our institution. The lyrics for this song were written by Dr. Pragnesh Verma, Additional Professor and Head Department of Forensic Medicine, AIIMS Bibinagar, and the music was composed by Nursing Officer Pranay Bahadure and undergraduate students of 2020 batch Ms. Retika Rochika and Mr. Kashyap Sanjeev. The coordinator in charge for this was Dr. Gunwanti Rathod, Additional Professor, Department of Pathology, AIIMS Bibinagar.
बिबिनगर की संतान देते हैं हम सबको जीवन दान। हम हैं AIIMS बिबिनगर की संतान देते हैं हम सबको जीवन दान।
जीवन को खुशियों
जीवन दान। आओ साथ मिलकर यज्ञ करें, आओ साथ मिलकर यज्ञ करें, वसुदेव कुटुंबकम में खुद को हम मग्न करें। हम हैं एम्स बीबीनगर की संतान, देते हैं हम सबको जीवन दान। हम हैं एम्स बीबीनगर की संतान, देते हैं हम सबको जीवन दान, जीवन दान, जीवन दान।
Dignitary faculty and staff from the institute were equipped with essential disaster management skills. The team also conducted multiple basic and advanced life support workshops to train the various healthcare professionals and hospital staff in life-saving skills, a testament to our commitment to safety and excellence. On this occasion, I request the esteemed guests and dignitaries on stage to kindly release the books encapsulating the essence of these workshops and serving as a valuable resource. Emergency Preparedness, Saving Lives in Crisis, and Jeevan Dayani, Saving Lives One Beat at a Time. I request the guests to please move forward. Thank you, dignitaries. Powerful tool for transforming traditional offices into efficient paperless environments. It provides a centralized hub for managing documents, files, and communications, and brings numerous benefits, including improved productivity and transparency, streamlined operations, and enhanced security. We would now proceed to the launch of the e-office at AIIMS Bibinagar by the President, Dr. George D'Souza. I request our Executive Director, Dr. Vikas Bhatia sir, to do the honors on his behalf. I request Dr. Rohit Saluja, Faculty in Charge, IT, to facilitate the launch.
We will become paperless, and you will not find those green files from one office to another office, and we'll be able to operate from anywhere. So this is the first file that foundation stone for AIIMS Bibinagar was laid by our Honorable Prime Minister on 8th April 2023. Various offices in the institute are in the process of setting up, and a number of offices procedures and file movement process has been streamlined. In line with the digital initiatives of Government of India and the Directors of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, AIIMS Bibinagar had made all arrangements for migrating the office procedures to e-office. The officers on the area of administration had been trained by the NIC Railton officials on 2nd April 2024, and all arrangements have been done for boarding the same. It is proposed to officially launch the e-office for AIIMS Bibinagar on the first foundation day. Executive Director may kindly accord approval for the same, and this is the note which has been prepared by our Deputy Director Administration from the administration. This is how it will come, and we press and we write approved from my office, and it gets approved and the process is completed. So this is how we are going to function. It will streamline, and we have been working, and I express my thanks to the IT cell for working hard, Dr. Rohit and his team, and so this is approved. Thank you, sir. Thank you, President, sir, for launching the e-office for AIIMS Bibinagar.
Now it is my proud privilege to welcome Professor Dr. George D'Souza, the President of AIIMS Bibinagar and Dean St. John's National Academy of Health Sciences, Bengaluru, to deliver the presidential address.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Dr. Yogesh Chawla, Director of PGI Chandigarh and Chief of Police Council. Dr. Vikas Patia, Director of AIIMS Bibinagar. Dr. Rahul Nayak, the academics, the other executives, faculty, staff, students, and invited guests. At the outset, let me wish you all a very happy Founders Day. Today was the day our Prime Minister laid down the foundation stone of our institute and dedicated it to the country and to the people of Telangana to provide quality tertiary care to our people. AIIMS Bibinagar was established under the Pradhan Mantri Swasthya Suraksha Yojana with the aim of correcting regional imbalances in quality tertiary level healthcare in the country and attaining self-sufficiency in graduate and postgraduate medical education and training. In line with this objective, the Institute has as its stated mission to establish a center of excellence in medical education and training to provide high quality, community, patient-focused healthcare that is readily accessible, cost-effective, and meets the needs of the communities. It is good to celebrate this day and to renew our pledge to collectively help achieve this noble mission. The edifice of any medical institution stands on three pillars: training, clinical services, and research. In all three, AIIMS Bibinagar has made great strides. We have undergraduate and postgraduate courses in medicine, nursing, and allied sciences. And going by the rank of the students seeking admission, we seem to have made a mark. Our clinical services are growing by the day, and in research, we have begun on the right track. The Institute's involvement in the pandemic was greatly appreciated and showed the faculty, staff, and students' commitment to provide good and compassionate care to the community. From the very beginning, the Institute has developed community outreach programs. It has piloted innovative ways of reaching and serving the community, including the use of drones, probably the first for any AIIMS. This year, we achieved another milestone as our first batch of MBBS students have begun their internship. They will be our ambassadors. It is they who will define whether we have succeeded in what we have set to do. I am sure the mentoring received from a dynamic faculty led by a dynamic director, they will not disappoint us and will always live our mission to provide quality care to the community they serve in a humane, compassionate and ethical manner. I also hope that significant numbers will take to teaching the next generation of healthcare professionals, an equally important mandate for our institute. Research is important. It may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I hope we have inculcated an inquiring mind so that our students identify gaps and needs in our healthcare and find solutions for our people. All of you must have definitely heard of the Arvind High Hospital. I urge you to read that story to understand how the need was identified and solutions found. Today, they do more eye surgeries than anyone else in the world and cost effective. We need more Arvinds. I hope we'll have many coming out of our institute. I wonder how many of you know our motto, may the entire world be happy. It is really in aspiration. We through our profession are quite well poised to do that. Let's on this Founders Day commit that we will work for the good of humanity. Happy Founders Day and God bless AIIMS Bibinagar. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite our Executive Director, Professor Dr. Vikas Bhatia, sir, to deliver the welcome address and to share the achievements and future aspirations of our institute.
Lightly.
Namaskar, good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a very special day for all of us. The first Institute Foundation Day celebration. The time flies so fast. This 365 days back, we went to Secunderabad for this special moment. Early morning I left this place as Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, our Honorable PM, he was to lay down foundation for multiple projects that included AIIMS Bibinagar Foundation, laying of the foundation stone of our institute. While sitting here, we thought that this is a very special day in the history of our institute, and 8th April we should celebrate in terms of recognizing the contribution made to the institute in academics and research. I'm very happy that we have very distinguished guests today with us who have been part of our institute, contributing in many ways. Dr. Yogesh Chawla, former director of PGI Chandigarh, whom I met at AIIMS Bhubaneswar in 2016 on AIIMS Bhubaneswar Foundation Day, and I was so happy to see him there. And now he's associated with us as chairman of the Scientific Advisory Committee, and as and when we invite sir, he supports us, guides us in various research projects which we implement in our institute. I welcome, I'm very happy he is here. For some extraordinary situation, he's here in my office, but he will be joining us soon. Dr. Meenu Singh a well-known pediatrician. I have seen Madam long back when she was a young faculty member, and maybe I was senior student that time, and later on also met her at times, because Dr. Meenu is very active in evidence-based medicine, well known all over the country. And Cochrane Review, she is well known for that, and her contribution in academics in patient care, particularly in pediatric pulmonary medicine, is well known to all of us. Madam is Executive Director at AIIMS Rishikesh. Welcome, Madam, for coming here. We are so happy to be here. And Professor Rajendra Singh is also former head of surgery at PGI. He is also here with us. I welcome you, sir. Dr. GVS Murthy. I met him first time when I was doing postgraduate MD program at Sevagram, and we learned that one faculty member has joined there from AIIMS New Delhi. We were very happy that we will be blessed with a lot more high quality learning, teaching, and it was. And we still remember him, all who have met him, who underwent training at that time. He stayed there for some time, and then I finished my MD, and later on he went back to AIIMS New Delhi, and then he had his long journey abroad and many more associations with Indian Institute of Public Health as director. Wonderful, world-known, world-renowned public health professional. It's a great privilege. I could not meet him for a long time, but I thought that this is a very right time to connect Professor Murthy with us and take his guidance on various aspects in developing the public health in this region. Thank you very much. Professor Surya Narayan Raju, many of you have met him already in our Institute Ethical Committee meetings. At times he must be very tough to all of you, but he's doing his job because he has to see that our research is ethically right. So he's our chairperson, oncosurgeon, formerly professor at AIIMS, well-known academic professional. So we are so happy to see you, sir, today here. Sir was with us on our annual day function and visits us regularly every once in a month on a Saturday. Thank you for joining, and I welcome you on behalf of our. I also welcome all the members of our Scientific Advisory Committee, all the members of IEC and CTC, Clinical Trial Committee, and our faculty members, our deans, associate deans, medical superintendent, our deputy director, faculty members, nursing officers, staff, and our dear students. I'm sure that the new institute, as we move up, as we keep on, as the time passes, we keep on adding new and new things. It's really satisfying that when we start something new and hoping that this will be helpful for the future staff and students and professionals and the administration in the institute, that they will take it further and strengthen it, and over the years it will improve upon. I give my good wishes to all of you, because in 2020 when I came here, it was a COVID peak time, and in now 2024, almost 4 years, we are able to achieve many things in hospital, patient care, research, and academics. And it is possible because I am blessed with a very, very strong team. My team as academics, in research, in examination, in hospital, in administration and finance, and every faculty member in this institute is like a jewel. I'm very proud of each and every faculty member. Our students are exceptional. Our nursing officers are so dedicated and helping in every way, whether they are in the hospital or sometimes they are helping us in administration also, because at times we have shortage in our various units. So we all work as a AIIMS Bibinagar as a family. I always desire that we live very happily. There are so many sorrows and pains we saw in the COVID, and otherwise also we see so much of hunger and pain and disease. Can we live happily and spread happiness in our institute? And this is why we feel so joyful in each other's company. We do not have our building yet. We do not have a building. This is a ward which we are using it as a seminar hall or mini auditorium. But the building stones and bricks will not bring emotions and feelings. It is the love and affection and the happiness which we celebrate on every moment. That's important. Next year, we will not be meeting here because in this room there will be patients. You will be treating physicians and nursing team, and our students might be, some of the students will be interns. 3 days back we shifted to, we saw the academic block, we went there, and we are happy that it is progressing very well, and I have been told that with full commitment I have taken from the Heights that we will be shifting there when you return back from your vacations, and we hope to have July as our deadline. We'll be shifting over there. Some of the issues which I observed, we will resolve it, but let's see that the building is complete and handed over to us so that you get your permanent shelter, your permanent home, or permanent office and department, whatever you dreamt, you have been watching, celebrate, enjoy. 8 departments, teaching and pre-para departments. There is a college of nursing there. There are examination hall, administration and finance, and advanced research center we have made. We have skill lab and everything in that one building. And also see that our faculty from the clinical departments, they are appropriately, respectfully given proper space. So I've already decided some of the rooms and where they can have their departments, because we have to vacate this building very soon. As soon as we vacate this building, we will be able to get it remodeled, and this will become 720 bedded hospital. We have now with us Ayush and one night shelter, we call it Amrit Nivas, wherever all the students are staying in-house. I keep on making a presentation on different forums, whether sometimes in governing body or in SFC, or not SFC mainly, but mainly in academic committee, and this time in SFC briefly. But I felt that many of you are not aware, so I thought that I give you a history, how we moved from 2020 and where we stand, so that each member of our AIIMS family and all those who are associated with us and supporting us and contributing in the development of this institute know that what we started and where we stand. Because otherwise, if I meet someone from outside, usual questions are, do you have a hospital, do you have patients, do you have this, do you have this program? So I thought that let me apprise you all, including many faculty members may not be knowing that what we have done, what you have done, and what we have done as collectively and where we stand. Let's see a brief presentation I give you on various progress. This building is 15 years old. In 2009 this was inaugurated. This was meant to be another center hospital for known as AIIMS. It was inaugurated in 2008 March by then Chief Minister of United Andhra, but unfortunately in air crash he died and the project was stopped for some time. You can see the hanging wires, building wires and many things in this building, and we can use only 15 to 20%, and this we have modified, painted and make it livable so that we can continue with developing this, start this institute. So this is the 7th phase AIIMS. So after us there are 1 or 2 AIIMS, and some more have been announced of late, like Rewari and another one. Otherwise, ahead of us are almost all AIIMS which were started before us. MOU was signed in February 2019 between Government of India, Ministry of Health and Government of Telangana, and AIIMS was appointed as executing agency for developing this institute, and the construction work is being done by the NCC, and 20 buildings blocks are under construction. I came here from Bhubaneswar, lockdown period, and nobody was here because everybody was told to stay at home, and came by taxi and reached here, and could find just few security guard and couple of housekeeping, and I stayed in the room next to my office for a few days, and then the IB was constituted. It was still being constituted. That was in May 2020, and it was not finalized, and I was thinking how to start the AIIMS. I picked one TV from the Voice Hostel who were not there, and connected with internet, and had started talking with our IB members, and our president then was nominated by the ministry by gazette notification, and the first IB was held on 13th of August 2020, wherein the important decisions of Standing Selection Committee, Standing Finance Committee, and so on, Standing Academic Committee was taken, and this is how we started. And our students, the 50 batch students, first batch 2019 who joined in August, they were at home, but I was talking to them online, and then I was very much concerned because there were 6-7 faculty members on contract, and we should have the second MBBS faculty, otherwise who will teach them? So the recruitment of faculty was extremely important, and there were more than 2,000 applications for 19 departments. It was such a difficult task to conduct interviews, wherein most of the interviews were conducted online. First time when I told that we want to have the interviews online, it was not accepted by the government. I requested them, I convinced them, they agreed, and special grant was given, permission was given that we can have the faculty recruitment up to November, and then I again said give some more time. It went up to February. In the first 5 rounds, we appointed 90 faculty members for 18 departments. This is how we started our institute, and soon after we started with the OPD. So during that period, we developed our own logo, which has it reflects the culture of Telangana, hospital, education, and so on, called City of Lakes, Hyderabad. You can see that. So there is meaning for everything which we see in this logo. And that time the boundary wall, 201 acres of land was being built, and the land was handed over to us in July 2020. And the project was still not, the structure, the architecture, the plan was not made. So we thought that we should make it something like, we say why our students and doctors go abroad. Why can't we have an institute of that excellence, that infrastructure, where they don't have to go abroad? People should see that we have the infrastructure better than what you have in Europe and Australia and US. So with that concept, we started working and developed. If you see those buildings, the hostels, the faculty houses, the hospital, the operation theatre, all that which is coming up will be of the world class. You all will be blessed, and 2024 you will see a lot of transformation. I am very grateful, thankful, and appreciate the patience of our students and our faculty. Despite not having the proper buildings and complexes, they have shown a lot of patience and support, and continued with their hard work. So this is how now you all will have, Dean will have his office, Registrar will have his office, her office, everybody will have, don't worry. So the labs and the hostel for first year, second year were being developed. Lockdown period, first Yoga Day celebration on 21st June 2020. and we did in that where the buildings have been coming up, and we used to call it Peacock Garden because there used to be hundreds of peacocks there. And when we did yoga early morning, Dr. Govind, our yoga faculty, expert in yoga, he came with one small recorder. We few faculty that time they had joined. They were on contract, some not joined, they were on contract, some of them. We did that yoga there. I told that these peacocks will miss them once these buildings are ready. But if you make them green campus, clean campus, beautify it, all those peacocks will return back. They will, you can see them on the rooftop of the 24th floor building. So the first MU meeting was under the tree. During lockdown, we were not supposed to be coming closer to each other, stay away. So I made one presentation on the wall there, and that is how we started. And this is called Imli Garden because there are a lot of Imli trees over there. Under the Imli tree, we went there and enjoyed. Also in 2020, we had the first Hindi Pakhwada, Raj Bhasha. So we started implementing, putting seats for everything which is required in institution, which are expected in any AIIMS and any government institution. So that was also done, and that was again in open. We had our review meetings that what we are planning, what we want to do, that we used to do under the tree. Now we have so many IBs, GBs, SFCs, and academic committee, and continuously Rozgar Mela starting in November 2022, recruiting close to 900 different category of our staff like doctors, faculty, nursing officer, SRs, JRs, over 900. I know this hall used to look so big 2 years back. We need a hall which can accommodate 1,000 people. That is also under construction. Wait for a few days more. We have the students. The first batch is now doing internship. COVID could not stop us. First batch internship, starting from 1st January, it was the, even if there was no COVID, we should have started this on 1st January 2024. This happened because we continue teaching offline, online, and also cut down their holidays, vacations, added more hours, and students were very cooperative. I promised them that we'll start internship on 1st. We sent them because we did not have the hospital. In 15 days when I joined, some media people came, when we will start the OPD. I said, 2nd June is the Telangana Formation Day. I joined on 9th May. I said, what is the important day here? This is 2nd June is Telangana Formation. We will start OPD. We started in 15-20 days. And now we have close to 1,500 to 2,000 OPD every day. And now the OPD looks very busy. And it is increasing day by day, but we don't have the space now. That's the constraint at this stage. So our students are happy because they wrote a message when they got 30,040 rupees per month as stipend. This was their first income. I got 400 rupees as income. I went to Nagpur. I purchased a very costly shirt that time, something like 250 rupees. I felt I'm a rich man now. I can understand their feeling. They got for 2 months together. We got it from the ministry approved, and imagine 60,180 rupees coming in their account with their own hard work, their first income. They said, "Atmanirbhar ho gaya." Now we have income. How are you feeling? I hope we have fulfilled your promise. We used to talk in COVID time in 2009-20 and over the time. I am sure that they don't miss anything here. So we exchange program. We send them to AIIMS Bibinagar in 3 batches, each of 15 to 20 students, a half batch, 50 students. They spend 2 weeks there to learn culture of Odisha, to learn from AIIMS Bibinagar. Whatever you have not seen here, go and meet and make friends, visit and grow. And so you should not miss anything. It's not their fault. They have decided to come to AIIMS, but they were expecting that. Their expectation is that they should get opportunity to learn each and everything. So we ensure, and now they are doing internship. Even if you miss something, please let us know. See, you must be able to do some important procedures which are expected from you as per your logbook.
Our students are coming from all over the country. I feel who decides the institute is good or bad? Students. When they decide about the ranking or institute, we do not have the hostel, we don't have buildings. I'm surprised that still they opt for Bibinagar. I could not find the answer why they come. Probably they feel that the faculty members are very good. Is it so? So the ranking is very high, and now that we will have the hostel, that one tower of 21 floor in expected to be, that is very, they have also promised us, they will give us in July. This year students will be shifting, or you all will be shifting there. In the boys hostel and the girls hostel, one tower will be given, 21 story, 20 stories. Girls story building is taller because I'm expecting more girls to join. You can see from 2022 batch. If they have nice hostel, there will be, out of 100, there will be 70 girls and 30 boys. Okay, and as such, probably the only AIIMS, we have more than 50% faculties women, ladies. I am happy that the male faculty is also clapping for the ladies, and they are coming from all over the country. Now, faculty members, and what are the courses which we have at the moment? MBBS is doing the full MBBS 5 batches now. We also have the MD MS program. We got it approved right in the beginning in the first standing academic committee, anticipating that as and when we have good number of faculty and infrastructure, we'll start the PG. We have the postgraduate MD MS program in 18 departments, and at the moment we have 79 junior residents working in different departments. We started with the College of Nursing this year with the half a batch because we do not have the hostel for them, but we managed it. The classroom which was there earlier, we converted into hostel, and the one abundant floor we converted into College of Nursing. And this year we are going to have a full batch, and we are going to start the MSc Nursing postgraduate courses in 5 different specialties. We also have the paramedical courses, allied health courses. We have the students in 3 already, in pink, OTT and medical lab and medical radiology, and this year going to have another 4. Probably one of the big number, very few AIIMS, they have so many courses. This year we're going to have 7 allied health courses in AIIMS Bibinagar. We also have the DM neurology started, and 2 students, residents, they joined because we have a professor, madam has come from Rishikesh. Madam, thank you very much for relieving him. And 6 years integrated program on MCH. Now this year will start in pediatric surgery. Also starting the DM in global health and clinical epidemiology in the Department of Community Medicine. This will happen for the first time in India. तो एक एम्स के अंदर 3 तरह के लोग चाहिए चलाने के लिए. एक चाहिए डॉक्टर्स, हम लोग डॉक्टर्स भी बनाएंगे, MBBS MD करेंगे, और हमको चाहिए नर्सेस, वी हैव नर्सिंग कोर्सेज, और चाहिए टेक्नीशियंस. सबसे प्रॉब्लम आती है टेक्नीशियंस की. वी डोंट गेट टेक्नीशियंस, एंड पर्टिकुलरली व्हेन यू आर इन आउटर एरिया एंड यू हैव लॉट ऑफ कॉर्पोरेट हॉस्पिटल्स एंड दे गेट better salaries there. So we thought that every area which needs technicians and where there is a shortage, we should have the allied health courses for them. We are thankful to Ministry. 150 SRs and 150 JRs were sanctioned recently, which we recruited in the month of December. Now that means we have 200 and 200, which is much less than what first 6 AIIMS have. 310 SRs and 310 JRs. That number is still less, but nonetheless 200, we are still happy with that, and hope that the number which has been actually earmarked is 260. We hope to have those number increased. We have also submitted to the ministry to create more faculty positions, and have already submitted, and group DNC positions were also created. We have completed the recruitment of them as well. So these are the different departments where we have the postgraduate courses. These are the 18 departments, pre, para and broad clinical. 3 departments we will be considering in the next recruitment, faculty recruitment, because dermatology, TM are departments that do not have the senior professors or senior faculty. So students were staying outside, they were very unhappy, they wrote many emails. एम्स के अंदर तो अंदर में स्टे कराते हैं, आपने हमको बाहर रख दिया. There was in the forest, it was a very dirty area, and हमने कहा इसका नाम रख दो पैराडाइज. उससे पूछा कहाँ रहते हो, कहते पैराडाइज में रहते हैं. फिर क्या प्रॉब्लम है? And we converted into paradise, very nicely done grounds and play, and students now they are happy here also, they were happy there. तो कभी मिलते हैं, पूछ लेते हैं, so they say they are happy now, they are in the campus. Of course they have a good feeling of being inside, and all boys and girls, allied health courses, nurses, everybody is here within this building. It's like a Leonia resort, madam. At times. सब कुछ इधर जाते हैं तो बैडमिंटन कोर्ट है, इधर जाओ तो क्लासरूम है, एक स्टेप ऊपर जाओ तो मेस है, एक स्टेप नीचे जाओ हॉस्टल है, सब कुछ आसपास ही है, कहीं कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं है. सो दे सेलिब्रेट, दे एंजॉय, एंड थोड़ी देर के बाद कोई ना कोई मिल जाता है. सो सैडनेस का क्वेश्चन ही नहीं है. इट्स नॉट लाइक ऑस्ट्रेलिया जहाँ पे आपको कोई ह्यूमन बीइंग मिलता है, हेलो हाउ आर यू, यू नो, यू मीट ह्यूमन बीइंग, यू सी ह्यूमन बीइंग आफ्टर हाफ एन आवर, वेरी रेयर, ओके, particularly in winters. So here you find everyone after some time, so everybody is happy to see each other. So College of Nursing, we have 19 those who have joined, faculty and tutors, and one more is shifting from AIIMS Bhopal, and so this is the plan for this year. And we also started the sports, because खेलने के लिए तो ground चाहिए, and that we have enough. 201 acres we have a lot of ground. We cleaned it up, and वो जो shrubs थी clean करके we started playing cricket there, put a mat and started a match between staff, students and faculty, and also have the cultural program. The name what we kept is the spark, because I always felt that spark should always be there in your life. जिस दिन spark खत्म हो जाएगा उस दिन life का excitement खत्म हो जाएगा. So we celebrate literary, cultural, all the activities here, and the 10th March is our annual day function. We celebrate. That is how we do. I'm very proud of the faculty and the students and residents. In 3 years' time, 657 publications. मैं देख रहा था ऑन एन एवरेज जो डिपार्टमेंट थोड़े एस्टैब्लिश हैं जिसमें ज़्यादा फैकल्टी है या थोड़े समय से हैं, दैट रेंज इज बिटवीन 30 to 50 publications in this period. Some are single faculty, some are newer departments. So I'm sure this will multiply, accelerate now. The intramural projects were granted to them right on their joining, 5 lakh rupees to them. Students are also publishing articles. The College of Nursing tutors and faculty have also already, they joined recently, few months back, have already published few articles. Everybody is writing, publishing, doing projects from we have multiple projects, multi-crore projects from different resources, different funding agencies. You can see on this, so close to 90 and close to 100 projects which are going on with few number of faculty, which is now 114 out of 118. This is the list of extramural projects, maybe worth about 70 crores or so. We have the funding, and this is the Sankalp project for reducing the neonatal mortality, one of the major project which is given to us by ICMR to be done in aspirational district in Adilabad, which is a tribal and very underserved district on border of Telangana and Maharashtra. We have multiple collaborations. It's going to increase again more and more, and so this is how we have different activities. Our Union Health Minister, Shri Dr. Mansukh Mandaviya visited us and inaugurated the digital health and ABA and many activities in e-Sanjeevani. Our Honorable Governor of Telangana released the research magazine called Avish Anusandhan here. She visited here twice, and multiple activities in the outreach. And I quickly show you the different departments. I'll just keep it for few seconds. Second department, full of different sections, is now can be better named as clinical physiology. They contribute a lot in various services in the hospital. Biochemistry is fully equipped, can do every test possible. They can do it here. All state-of-the-art equipments are available with them. Microbiology is well established, regional One Health Center coordinator, and VLDL lab is there, and BSL 3 lab is also going to be established very soon. Pathology, one of the biggest department with 10 faculty members, and forensic medicine also doing a lot of good work, waiting for the mortuary to be functional soon. And community medicine department is also doing a lot of activities in outreach areas and also started the rural health training center. We have the funding for that. Soon our land is transferred to us, we will establish RSTC. Department of anesthesia is doing 3 operation theaters. We started with 1, now we have 3. We are waiting for the modular OT complex to be ready, and in the C and F block, once it is handed over to us, we'll add at least 1 or 2 more OTs in that building. Radio diagnosis has now all MRI is there and all other equipments are there, and digital fluoroscopy has also become functional. We are happy that Ministry has sanctioned us last week to buy CT scan in the SFC. So we'll have the SFC we'll have the CT scan very soon in the Department of Radio Diagnosis, which will be then having all the required equipments. This was inaugurated by our Union Mr. Dr. Bharti OBG, and have the labor room and medicine department between 200 to 300 patients in OPD every day, and they have now a good number of equipments. Pediatrics department, orthopedics, general surgery, ENT, ophthalmology, psychiatry, dermatology, PMR, blood transfusion, blood storage center, hospital administration, dentistry, and now we have the super specialty department, pulmonary medicine, endocrinology, pediatric surgery, nephrology, starting the dialysis, hemodialysis very soon. Maybe could have started today, but maybe will start very soon in the month of April itself, and everything is ready. Neurosurgery, 2 DM candidates have already joined, and cardiology, neonatology, urology, burns and plastic. So this is the number of departments, 32. We have 40 departments plus trauma and emergency. So we have reached to 32. More will be added this year. We will be fully functional. We'll have all the 40 plus 1, 41 departments this year. By the end of this year, once we get more buildings, we'll have increased the number of beds in that C and F. In 2021, we had 19 departments for which we were, I told you, had the interviews in 2020, 2021. And then in 2022, we converted into the postgraduate departments. Various 18 departments who are having now the postgraduate. In 23, we added another 13 departments, and that's mainly with newer departments and super specialty departments. And the remaining 8 departments, there were faculty members who have been recruited but have not joined. And some of them, because we don't have nuclear medicine, we don't have cardiothoracic surgery facilities and gastroenterology, it will take some more time. But we are sure by end of this year, we'll have all the departments. We have the ABA facilities, more than 68,000 scans have been done, and HMIS also is there. So we have seen now on Saturday, 6,99,906. If we add the OPD number of Saturday also, let's clap and celebrate 7 lakh OPD consultations. All are busy in the morning, I know. Today is Monday, and a lot of patients will be waiting for you as well. So IPD, we have 150 beds, and operation theaters, 32,000 surgeries, major surgeries, more than 3,000. Vaccination we gave to about 25,000. We established RT-RCA, RET, and RT-PCR lab here. We have ultrasound, X-ray, MRI, and more than 4 lakh lab investigations done by the 3 departments. So we are getting patients mainly from Telangana, but neighboring Andhra, and we can see small number of patients coming from all over the country. Our reach is gradually increasing.
Professor Dr. G.V.S. Murthy sir, President Prashu Foundation and ex-director Indian Institute of Public Health Hyderabad, our guest of honor for the day. Professor Dr. G. Suryanarayan Raju sir, former professor and head of the Department of Surgical Oncology and Dean Research at Nizam's Institute of Medical Sciences, Hyderabad. Sir was also former NMC member. Sir is currently chairperson of IEC AIIMS Bibinagar. Dr. Swami Pragya Parida ma'am, additional professor, Department of Community Medicine and Family Medicine, AIIMS Bibinagar. Ma'am is member of Scientific Advisory Committee. Ma'am is faculty AIIMS Bhubaneswar and ma'am is member of Scientific Advisory Committee of AIIMS Bibinagar. Dr. Sadashivudu, sir, professor of Medical Oncology, NIMS Hyderabad, also a member of SAC AIIMS Bibinagar, and Dr. Bhanu Prakash, scientist G, ICMR, National Institute of Nutrition, member of SAC AIIMS Bibinagar. They were unable to join us here today. Sri Padmarao Lakkaraju sir, National Vice President, All India Prosecutors Association, and also empaneled advocate of the Standing Council of AIIMS Bibinagar and National Highway Authority of India. Sir is legal expert of IEC AIIMS Bibinagar. Smita Joshi ma'am, Professor of History, presently working at Symbiosis International University and formerly head Department of History, St. Anne's College for Women, Hyderabad. Ma'am is a social scientist member of IEC AIIMS Bibinagar. Sri Durgadas Saha, sir, ex-director of Mine Safety, as a layperson representative of IEC AIIMS Bibinagar. Srimati MVL Narayanamma madam, retired Deputy Director, Department of Adult Education, Andhra Pradesh, as layperson representative member of IEC AIIMS Bibinagar. Professor Dr. Rajendra Singh, ex-HOD, Department of General Surgery, PGMR, Chandigarh, our guest for the day. Now I request Dr. Sangeeta Sampath ma'am, Dean Research, to present a memento to Professor Dr. Vikas Bhatia sir, our Executive Director and CEO. I request Director sir to present a memento to Professor Dr. Rahul Nadan, Dean Academics, AIIMS Bibinagar. Professor Dr. Sangeeta Sampath, Dean Research, AIIMS Bibinagar. Professor Dr. Nitin Ashok John, Dean Examination, AIIMS Bibinagar. Dr. Bipin Varghese, Deputy Director Administration, AIIMS Bibinagar. Professor Dr. Abhishek Arora sir, Medical Superintendent, AIIMS Bibinagar. Professor Dr. Neeraj Agarwal sir, ex-Medical Superintendent and Head of the Department of Community Medicine and Family Medicine, AIIMS Bibinagar. Thank you, sir. It is now time to enrich our minds with the wisdom of our guest speakers. It's my proud privilege to invite our chief guest,
Professor Vikas Bhatia, the director of this place, Professor Meenu Singh, the director of AIIMS Rishikesh, my very dear friend Dr. Rajinder Singh, the medical superintendent Professor Rahul Narang, the MS and all other dignitaries in the front row and who are part of the academic committee meeting. It's an absolute pleasure to be here in this meeting on the foundation day of AIIMS Bibinagar. I have been very closely watching this institute for the last 3 to 4 years. When Professor Bhatia got me involved here as chairman of the research committee. And I've seen the progress of this institute over the years with a good number of publications, good amount of enthusiasm of the students and the faculty. But still there are a lot of miles to go, which for any new institute it does take time. So I'll briefly talk on the issues which I think we need to address early. So we know that medical research has brought about increased longevity, not only by diagnosis but also treatment, and now with the technological advances things are going to improve further. India contributes to 20% of the world share of disease, but this statistics in 2014 showed that the research output of the 579 medical institutions in India that time, only 25 of them, that is 4.3%, had more than 100 papers per year. And 57% of the medical colleges did not have any publication even in a decade. So this was a very big shameful effect on the medical colleges, and the National Medical Council took up this case, making compulsory publications for the faculty and the students also to some extent. And now things are definitely better, although I don't have any statistics. But India's position has improved in the National Science Foundation globally from 7th to 3rd, which came out recently. Unfortunately, the share of medical research in the country is only 1.6%. So why do we want to do research? Being a research day today, and the initiative taken by the team of AIIMS Bibinagar, Dr. Sangeeta Sampath, Rahul and the director. So we do research because we want to acquire new knowledge which benefits the mankind, discover new facts and information, give an intellectual development. It breaks the monopoly if you do research. It also gives you a lot of pleasure and a kick in life. And it gives you recognition and leadership, which ultimately should result in publication, and that also quality publication. But then doing research in India is not easy. There are roadblocks because there is little time and energy for serious research. And in India we don't practice time out as you have in the West of people taking time off from the clinical duties and devoting time to research. There is a disparity in human resources, especially in the state medical institutions and also to some extent in the central institutions. What we require, we are not given, and that puts an extra burden on the people who are working. There is inevitable bureaucracy associated with administration. There is a strong hierarchical, authoritative setup which thwarts the enthusiasm of young and capable faculty. The youngsters cannot really be on their own. They have to follow the hierarchical, authoritative programs. And there is excessive compartmentalization and fragmentation that percolates down to the smallest unit possible. The other roadblocks are that there is a lack of infrastructure and supportive ecosystem. There is no incentive for doing research, and we all need to look at ways by which we can incentivize. We cannot give money, we cannot improve decrease the promotional time which is required for the faculty, as is being done in some of the institutes of human resources. I know of an example of Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. Anyone with a very good publication gets an early promotion. It is time bound in the medical colleges and AIIMS, AIIMS, and that possibly is one of the reasons that the publications and research is lacking the way that we want. There are lack of mentors, underutilization of funds, and lack of adequate funding and manpower. Somehow the Indian scientists outside India do very well and they make us proud. But here, because of all these roadblocks, their output decreases. Moreover, we have a lot of MD, MS, DM, MCH, PhD programs, and which delve into original research, but a lot of data gets unpublished. And if we had floated an idea of having PhD in the medical faculty as an essential qualification for getting into an institute, this hasn't worked well. This was only to bring about increased research. And there is poor official assistance, and which affects the plan of the study. If you would have looked into the recent publication or the news items, the maximum medical research in 23-24 was done in Johns Hopkins, followed by the Pennsylvania University, Columbia, Duke, Stanford in the order. But in India, it's basically Indian Institute of Science and All India Institute, Delhi, and to some extent PGI. If you look at the research output and academic papers, India is almost equal to that of UK, but much below China and USA. And the citations per article average for an Indian publication is 2.71 against 6.45 from the US. And more than 90% of our articles have less than 25 citations, and only 10% are in the indexed journals. Unfortunately, India, because of the publications requirements from the MCI or NMC, India has become the world capital of predatory journals, and almost 62% of the medical journals that are published here are fake, as compared to US, which is less than 1%. So we are not able to attain the global university rankings, firstly because there is mediocrity and there is lack of research culture. We do not have very active national and international collaborations, which some of the good institutes and even AIIMS Bibinagar has started doing it. I know of AIIMS Rishikesh as well. And in these collaborative publications, only 2.5% are from India. So how can we improve our research? We need to have a research culture early at the undergraduate or postgraduate level. And ICMR, to promote research, has come up with short-term student scholarships, which is being actively practiced in possibly most of the INIs. And I'm aware of the students who present their data whenever I'm here. They are doing an excellent type of work. The funds are adequate, however, for PG and faculty level, and this comes through DBT, Wellcome Trust, ICMR, and DST. But somehow the disbursement from these agencies gets delayed, and that causes a lot of frustration to the faculty and the students when they are doing research. There is also a negative side that the teachers have very limited experience in research, and they are not able to inspire students and the change in the attitude of faculty for improving research. But someone has said that 5 Ds are very important for good research. One is determination, desire, being driven, dedication, doggedness, and devotion. So whenever we have PGs, what is the objective of having PGs? To make competent specialists, teachers and researchers. And for this reason, thesis is given to them when they are doing the post-graduation, but this is considered more of a formality rather than some major original research. So the MCI has taken some initiative and has made 2 research publications for promotion in the medical colleges and a little more in the INIs. At one time, and most of the universities in the world have said that to become a professor on promotion, the H index should be more than 18. And this is something which we followed at AIIMS Rishikesh also some time back initially, but somehow it got scrapped. And just to tell you that the one person, Walter Willett from Harvard, has the highest H index in the world, and that is for 347. We should always aim for publishing in important impact factor journals like NEJM and Lancet, and that should be our goal. And let's see how many of them can get it achieved in this institute. The other problem with research is our basic scientists work in silos. They do not get associated with clinicians, nor do the clinicians have the time to involve them. I think this needs to be integrated, the basic scientists and the clinicians, and certainly would bring about more research outputs. Collaborative projects are important, which I just mentioned, and there should be pooling of research facilities. The researchable question that we talk of also should be very interesting. It should be novel because only then it would get published. And it should deal with a health problem that can be examined and analyzed to provide useful information. So for a successful research project, when you apply to different agencies, how well the researcher has formulated the research question is something very important. And one has to keep in mind that acquirement of new knowledge which benefits mankind is the purpose of the research. We should try not to reinvent the wheel. So you should evaluate the topic, the significance of the topic, how are you going to approach the problem, the design and the methods. Is there any new in this project that you are undertaking? And it should have a very cordial environment for everyone who is working in that project so that you get support from all quarters. One should consider doing a pilot study if you don't have any information on this. And we all know that consulting a biostatistician, etc., is important for doing a project. Occasionally the research papers get failed, and that is because there is no hypothesis involved in the study. There is a poorly conducted literature search, inadequate data, and a poor choice of the mentor. So all these things need to be improved. So this is all about research, which is a very important aspect amongst the faculty and the residents from this institute or any other medical institute. It gives you a lot of pep. The second that I'm going to talk about is the medical innovations. This is the in thing. We keep on listening to medical innovations in finances, the engineering departments. The medical innovations also need to be done. Unfortunately, even though we have lots of in a number of institutes, got some success in some, but no success in others. So we all have to collectively work on having strong interactions with the engineers. The Indian healthcare doesn't give much importance to innovation, and that is because of we are burdened by malnutrition, infectious disease, lifestyle-related diseases, and our medical insurance is abysmally low, except for the Ayushman Bharat, which has helped a lot of people. We do not spend much on the health infrastructure. The Global Innovation Index has improved though from 81st in 2015 to 40th in 2023. The number of patents also has improved significantly. But still, we spend only 0.64% of the GDP in research and development. We are an important pharma industry and gradually getting into healthcare with medical devices, but unfortunately, we have not reached up to the requirements of the country. So what are the challenges? Limited capital for high-end ideas. The regulatory process is good but very slow. There are limited facilities for product testing, validation and accreditation. Help the low-cost medical devices for the common man is something that we should all look for, and promote global, affordable, need-driven innovations, ultimately having affordable healthcare in India. The medical device manufacturing sector is still in the nascent stage, although there are some places where you can, after an innovation, tell them what innovation you have done, and if they feel that it is of value to the public in general, they take up production now. This wasn't there about 10 years ago, but now in the last 4-5 years, this is very active. So all the faculty and the students, if they come up with innovations, there is a way by which they can get their things promoted. So your own innovation would reduce the cost of manufacturing by 40 to 50%. So this is absolutely important. In fact, there was a suggestion that any MD or MS person, every student has to give up one innovation idea. This is at some place we've done that, and these young minds come out with excellent ideas. And if you have an innovation bazaar like we have it in PGI every year, along the research day, some good innovations do come out. So I would suggest that since you have a very active faculty and an excellent group of students, this should be one aim of doing affordable medical innovations. The ICMR gives money for medical innovations, DBT, BIRAC, DST and CSIO. So if you work on new targets, new diagnostics and non-invasive measuring devices, you're likely to get more monetary support from these agencies. So since we are talking about affordable healthcare in India, the medical innovations that one does are termed as frugal innovations or low-cost healthcare innovations, and they lack the sophistication or complexity or makeup for affordability. And some of the frugal innovations are reverse innovations. Any imported item can be indigenized with a few changes, and you can sell it to the different stakeholders at a much less charge. The good examples are low-cost ECG machine, kangaroo care, Ponsity treatment for clubfoot, use of mosquito net for hernia repair. I'll just quickly go through some of the Indian innovations made by youngsters to stimulate all the young students and young faculty. During COVID, we had a lot of innovations, and some of the examples is the full body disinfectant system, a convertible wheelchair cum bed with inbuilt defecation assistance. So this is something which had come up very interestingly. And this is we are aware of wearable time, real-time vital monitors. The Apple Watch gives it to you. There are others also. So this is a very good innovation. But one very interesting thing which I saw during the COVID was the portal isolation ICU unit. Many centers must have done that, but the one that I saw was at Mysore, JSS AIIMS University. There were no beds for the patients, and they made a cubicle which was absolutely sterile, supplied it with oxygen, suction, air conditioning, and it made a perfect example of an ICU whenever you don't have any beds in the ICU. So it has started getting marketed also. Then we are all familiar with digital X-ray, teleradiology, telepathology, the role of AI on CT chest, the self-testing of COVID and pregnancy, self and remote fetal distress monitoring. These are all available. IIT came out with a digital stethoscope where normally we use the stethoscope on teaching in the medicine students to an individual person, whether it's a systolic murmur or a diastolic murmur. That confusion is always there in the students. But with this digital stethoscope, almost 50 to 100 students can be taught what a systolic murmur is or a diastolic murmur. Diabetic foot screener has also been introduced, so rather than taking 30 to 40 minutes for finding out any evidence of diabetic neuropathy, you can tell in about 2 to 5 minutes. Then PPE kits were done, there were drones for spraying disinfectants, robos had been used for distributing drug and food carrying units. I have seen this in Kalinga Institute where they have a very active applied sciences department, and they came out with a robo, with a drone, and everything was done during the COVID period. Low-cost ventilators have been made from Hyderabad, and this is something which was very surprising. That is the standing wheelchair for patients who are paraplegic. This again was a wonderful innovation from IIT Madras. It is being marketed at the rate of about 80,000 to 3 lakhs. And I had seen this almost 5 years ago. So we have ambu bags which the patients in the emergency keep on pumping for sick patients, but then you have smart ambu bags which have been introduced by Mahindra, and our own faculty member from PGI had done this. Ultrasonic sensors for people who are blind. This is one of the smart cane produced by Niti Aayog colleague Dr. Arvind Paul's, Vinod Paul's son, and he came out with this chain with a cane which has a laser, and it tells the individual that there is a block. Now this is something very interesting. A portable breath analyzer has, again from an Indian, has come out which takes up the volatile compounds produced in patients with pneumonitis, breast cancers, lung cancers, and they are able to identify malignancy or infection much earlier. This has to be further validated, but this is something which we all can do since you have a lot of collaborations with the associated institutes in Hyderabad. It's a very good place where you can tie up with IITs or the CCMBs and other institutes which you are doing. Again, nanodiagnostics is something that we should focus on, because this our own Indian person, Sangeeta Bhatia, with a paper test she could identify pancreatic cancer. So that is by detecting nanoparticles attached to some biomarkers. So this is something very simple. It has been validated also, but not yet marketed. But I think it's a wonderful discovery, and gradually we keep on reading that these changes are happening. Again, this youngster came out with the eye reflex. This is almost 10 years ago, where in the rural setup in children, whenever there is a change in the pupillary color, you could identify that there is an eye problem in that individual. Then similarly, speech synthesizer for patients who have had carcinoma larynx and removal of the vocal cord. This youngster came out with a speech synthesizer which is absolutely very cheap. This person has come out with wireless ECG, and now you have a lot of other companies which give you that information. Again, excellent thing is a modified walker with adjustable legs. We always have seen walkers on a being used on a flat surface. But anyone who wants to go up or go down, they have clutches at the handle, which makes you help go up or down. And this is something that came out in 2014. Another wheelchair which can go up the stairs, which again an Indian has done. So all these things can be done. And we are all familiar with the Jaipur foot, Jaipur knee and the Chitra valve in Trivandrum. And this is Aina Jana care, where with the help of a prick, you would be able to find out the sugar levels, the lipids, hemoglobin A1C and creatinine, which is very important for diversity, and community outreach programs. This is a very good discovery or an invention made from AIIMS Delhi. For patients who are comatose, they soil their beds with feces and urine. So they've come out with a Foley's catheter type of thing which prevents any leakage of stool into the bed, and it has a channel which connects to the urinary bag, and hence the patient remains clean. You don't need any assistance to change the bed sheet or something of that sort, and this is freely available now in the market now. This is how it is done. You put the balloon above the anal sphincter, it remains, blow the bulb, and all the feces can come out. So it's a very eco-friendly. PGI, I collected this a few years ago. PGI has had some wonderful contributions in innovations like the closed loop anesthesia delivery system by Dr. G.D. Puri, mucosal permeability assessment device to tell you the intestinal permeability by Usha Datta, and many other products which have come because of the innovation bazaar and the incentives that we try to give to the faculty. So what is the need of the hour is to have wearable devices, minimally invasive devices, come out with smart bandages, use telemedicine and immersive technologies. Try to use medical robots if possible. Fibroscan in the field of hepatology is something very, very important. But this machine costs about 1 crore. I don't know what is so expensive in that. Our Indians can work into it and come out with a portable Fibroscan for important community services, breath analyzer and nanodiagnostics. In the last, I would say that some suggestions, if possible, for AIIMS Bibinagar having such a dynamic team in the administration. I would suggest that one should start having courses on leadership for the faculty. This has recently been started from National Academy of Medical Sciences. You could follow them, send your faculty there, or have your own leadership programs here. Give a boost to medical humanities. This is something again which is ignored. I have seen very few institutes which take this up. St. John's is one of them, and the Mysore University has a separate medical humanities division. This will teach empathy to the students as well as the faculty, and it's a wonderful program. Bio incubators, so that you can have medical devices and come out with startups. Some of the medical institutes have this. Kalinga Institute has one, and Manipal has one. Otherwise, they are all in IITs. Start having a place for biobank. You're building new buildings, so think of a biobank which would be helpful in the long run. Patient safety unit. We all have patient safety units from the surgical side, and anesthesia. But if you have a unit to assess and audit whatever is being done, and teaching the students and the young faculty about patient safety is something important. You can try MD, PhD courses. Somehow we failed at the institute, but if you can manage to do it, But at PGI we had started MTech courses and PhD in medical devices. So that can be something of food for thought. 3D printing has taken up in a big way. So you can use it for biomedical purposes as well as implants. At PGI we always used to have non-medical talks once in a month. Maybe a different subject person, a journalist or an engineer, specific engineer. So to break the monotony one can do that. And I'm sure you must be working on the unit of artificial intelligence. So I think these are some of the food for thoughts for the Institute. We should grow further, and looking at the faculty and the students of this institute, what I found at this course is which I find is there in AIIMS Delhi, PGI and AIIMS Rishikesh. But most of the other All India institutes that have come up, they are more like regional, and giving a multicultural picture is always beneficial. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for listening. And the next Foundation Day we have some better responses to this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful.
Not free of cost, because they'll also get some brand boost in that. And other things which are very, very important for the institute, which are coming up here, are, that there is a trinity of mission for all the INIs, these institutes of national importance, and AIIMS institutes are part of that. And we know that we are into patient care, into training and research. We know that my previous institute in PGI, we had Art Seva Sarvbhadra Shodhascha. Meaning of that was that Art Seva means service to the poor, and research and patient and training for the good of all. That was the motto. Our current institute, like your institute, is based on Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, in which you want to have all individuals to achieve peace and happiness. And we know that for that we have to really work continuously and very dedicatedly, and we also have to develop our skills, and we have to do a lot of research. The talk which Professor Chawla gave was focused on quality in research and innovation, and I would actually dwell a little further on this particular aspect only, and maybe add a few more conceptual thoughts to what has already been discussed. So I tried to title my talk as Art and Science of Asking Questions. We know that it is actually a question which is the most important thing. The answer is automatic, and if you ask a good question, only then you will find a good answer. And that particular question comes not just by being a professor or very high in the hierarchy of academics. It also comes from very, very basic things and very, very unimportant things at times, which we think are of no importance. And if you start working on them, you find that this was the concept which was very, very important. And that is why they say that it is not the answer that enlightens, but the question. And hence, if I ask all of you to talk to each other, I know a lot of people are sitting at the back, and they are now getting restive, and they have been sitting here for a long period of time, and they have to listen to these talks. So if you talk to each other, you start thinking of what the question is. When you go to a coffee room, or whenever you sit across the dining table, you talk to each other and discuss what is it which baffled your mind on that particular day. And these questions actually come from, from our day-to-day life. So the important thing is not to stop questioning. And curiosity has its own reason for existing. And this is what was said by Sir Albert Einstein. And this is the kind of attitude which we have to develop, not in just ourselves, in our students, also in our children and everybody else who tends to take part in the various life situations. There is something which is dear to my heart, and that is evidence-based medicine. And you know that the definition of evidence-based medicine, which came from McMaster's University, is that it is a science of turning clinical problems into research questions. So it is the clinics, which are the source of these questions, which you must jot down every day when the patients come in front of you. And sometimes the patient itself is a problem, and you want to find an answer to that particular question. And after a question has been framed, the next thing is to find an answer. And finding an answer is not just that you will just walk to a laboratory and start researching. The first thing that you would do is to find whether the answer already exists to that question. And it so happens that many times the answer is already there. And for that we have to go to the various resources that we have for today. We have various databases, the knowledge which is lying unused, which we must tap. Then we critically appraise that knowledge. We apply that knowledge, or if the answers are available, because they are coming up with more. Once you apply that knowledge to patients, you find that the effects of that intervention are very different in different individuals. And why are they happening? That means the question to whom you thought you would find the answer was actually not there. There are more questions which are coming up. And so all this happens from scientific findings, and they go on to solve the questions. The questions also have to be prioritized. It is not something that you just thought of doing and the funding agency will come and fund you. It should also be a question which has to be answered on a priority basis. So you must also learn how to apply this prioritization concept to your questions. And for that, the criteria to identify priority problems is if the return on investment is high, if the cost is less, if there is availability of solutions which are already present, what is the impact of the problem that you are trying to do, what is the availability of resources, that is staff, time, money and equipment, what is the urgency of solving the problem. 3 years ago we were talking of COVID all the time because we thought that that was the priority at that particular time. And we all know that air pollution has always been a priority. So which is the one you would invest your money on? You have to decide. And the size of the problem, that means the number of individuals which are affected is also a matrix which will tell you that this is the problem that you have to answer, and this is how various evaluators of research projects also think about. We know that there is a health technology assessment board in India, and they are also looking at the technologies which have to be prioritized. Which are the technologies which have to be scaled up so that they give test returns, and if there is something that they will benefit the society. So all these points, these are the criteria to identify the intervention for the problem. So the first thing is about the problem itself, and then what is the intervention for that particular problem. Here also you tend to think of economics, that is return on investment, then effectiveness of solution, ease of implementation, that it is easy to perform, potential negative consequences, that's also very important, because if it has a lot of side effects or adverse effects or effects on the society, it is not something that you will take up. And of course, legal considerations and the impact of health systems is also something which we'll consider. So these are some of the concepts which are there. So things which have to be prioritized are the ones which are high need, high feasibility. That means they are feasible as well as they are needed. But then if they are low need and low feasibility, then those are the ones which are not going to be taken up. So this is a strategy grid which you usually apply to your questions, and then you try to see that these are the low need, high feasibility is something which is not to be taken up. High need, high feasibility is the one which is going to be prioritized. So we know that a lot of research is getting done. We all are doing lots of projects. We are doing for different agencies. We are also writing, research projects for MD, DM, MCH and everything. But what do we do with all that research which we do? We don't even look at that research sometimes. The thesis is completed, it is put in the, and sometimes we call it in the fiction section of the library, where nobody is reading them, or some people are reading because sometimes they feel that they don't have a lot of faith in that research, they don't even publish that. So we have to do research which we try to publish, and publication is not the end of everything, because the next step is translation. Because the current research is also being focused on translational research, that we must take up topics which can be applied to the society, and then we get some dividends out of it. So the latest research is what to do with all this research. So this is a kind of analytic framework which we have to think of and start looking at this huge body of information which is lying with us. Now, what do we really do? We know that we are all getting old, and we don't focus on a number of things. We know that we don't do research with our own hands now. We are mostly looking at and evaluating research. But these tools, what is being shown here is, in this particular result of a systematic review, is that as the number of years increase since graduation, our knowledge of current best practice goes on decreasing. And this is actually based on a systematic review of 62 studies, of which 94% found that people stop using research for their usual decision making. So for decision making, I think this is a time which is very, very important, that we must base all our decisions of clinical practice on research. So just to introduce you to this evidence-based practice timeline, and I don't know if all of you know who was Archie Cochrane. He is the person on whose name is the Cochrane Collaboration. And Cochrane Collaboration is a body of thousands of researchers who are trying to create evidence in the form of doing systematic reviews, which are called the Cochrane reviews. That means they are reviewing research. And from that research, they are trying to find which is going to be the most applicable to humankind. And Archie Cochrane was a British epidemiologist who who also went to the Second World War, but he was also, as a student, a person who would ask questions. And he was the one who carried placards in the streets of London to say that all healthcare should be free. And it was a brain which was taken out of that persuasion that we know that NHS, National Health Service in UK, is free. And we in India are also trying to, somewhat adapt a program which is AIIMS, which is trying to give universal health coverage to patients through a government-sponsored program. So these concepts are some which have come out from Archie Cochrane, and he's the one who also, in whose name is the Cochrane Collaboration. So he wrote this book of effectiveness and efficiency, and in 1972, and this is the book which brought out that we must use whatever research evidence or research findings are present. After this were the two more doyens of evidence-based medicine. One is Dave Sackett, who is no more and was a professor at McMaster's as well as at Oxford. And he's the one who told us about the definition which we just talked about of evidence-based medicine. And then is Gordon Guyatt, who is still there in McMaster's University, and he's the one who called it evidence-based medicine, this particular term which is so often being used by policymakers, from general public, from doctors, from everybody, even the guideline formulators. Then we had Ian Chalmers, who was another person who is Sir Ian Chalmers now, and he's the one who started the Cochrane Collaboration. And so all these people then led to formation of centers for evidence-based practice around the world. And we also have a network of Cochrane affiliates now, which have like 10 institutions, including PGI, AIIMS Delhi, as well as Institute of Public Health, of which Dr. Murthy is closely associated with, and then there are many other institutes which are associated with this, and we are all trying to look at research. And we know that this hierarchy of research evidence which is shown in this pyramid shows that it is randomized controlled trials and systematic reviews which are at the top of this pyramid, whereas other studies such as cohort studies, case control studies, case reports, and ideas or editorial opinions, they are a little bit lower on the research pyramid. So this is about Archie Cochrane, which I have already talked to you. And systematic review, I'm not going to talk to you in a greater detail, but I just want to tell you that this is one kind of research project which can be easily completed while you're doing review of literature for your thesis or for your research project. And this is something which critically analyzes all the information which is available, and this is how we identify the problem, we appraise, we select the studies, and then we synthesize. And we know that there is explosion of available knowledge, there is need for good quality information, and this overwhelming information is there, and if it is systematically reviewed, it adds to new knowledge. And for systematic reviews, we look at individually at each article, and then we take them together. And they fit in evidence-based medicine. When we ask questions, we acquire knowledge, we appraise it, we apply, and then we analyze the knowledge. So the first 3 steps in EBM process are covered in the process of completing questions. So again, coming back to questions, because once you start with a question and later on you again have a question, and then the science is nothing but a series of questions that lead to more questions. So these are the various steps which you perform while practicing evidence-based medicine after asking a question, which we have already discussed. These are various agencies with which you may get associated, like the Cochrane collaboration, the Campbell collaboration, which looks more at the social type of evidence, the Jonah Briggs Institute in Australia, the Gacy Initiative, and the GRADE Working Group, which are very important for framing guidelines for so this is the timeline for evidence-based medicine in India, where we at PGI and CMC Vellore were sanctioned projects by ICMR. This has triggered a national interest in evidence-based practice. Niti Aayog has set up a technical support unit for collating evidence, and evidence synthesis units have been set up in NHSRC also for formulating evidence. This is a little bit about Cochrane collaboration. The Cochrane Library, which is www.cochranelibrary.com, and if you publish a Cochrane review, you get something like an impact factor of 12 and very good citations. And these are the various types of Cochrane reviews which you can do, and the Cochrane database has all these components. And it is health professionals at all levels, health researchers, health policy makers who benefit from the Cochrane evidence which is there. And this is actually just a story to show you what the logo of Cochrane stands for. These are the 2 C's, that is the Cochrane collaboration. And this is the result of a meta-analysis which was done on the use of steroids antenatally when the mothers went into premature labor, and that prevented respiratory distress syndrome in babies, and this review saved millions of babies, because then it became a standard practice to give corticosteroids to mothers who are in premature labor. So we know that the life of a Cochrane reviewer is full of trials, so they would always be asked questions, and they also look at randomized controlled trials and non-randomized controlled trials, but other kinds of trials would also be there, because Cochrane process as such is such that it saves you from many questions which are there later on, because it is all evidence-based. Another concept which is there is that evidence is probably not all that you need. You also need patient references and actions, because we may not be able to implement everything which is the best evidence, and there is clinical state and circumstances which are also important. So the new field which is now emerging out of evidence-based medicine is value-based medicine. That means we base things on whatever value we get out of that evidence, and there is methodology which is being developed for that, and I think it's open for all of you to get into that particular field. And we know that we do have knowledge, but where is the wisdom we have lost in knowledge, and the knowledge we have lost in information. We know that all this information is nothing if it is not converted into usable knowledge, and all this knowledge is waste if you don't use wisdom to use that knowledge at a particular place. So with those words, I thank all of you for giving me an opportunity. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I also request Director Sir to facilitate our media reporters who have been consistently providing media coverage for the services and activities of AIIMS Bibinagar since inception. Mr. Dayakar from Doordarshan, Telangana. Mr. Naveen from Inauguration. Mr. Srinivas from Telangana. Thank you, sir. I now invite our guest of honor, Professor Dr. G.V.S. Murthy, sir, President of Prashu Foundation, which stands for Pragyan Sustainable Health Outcomes Foundation, and ex-director, Indian Institute of Public Health, Hyderabad, to deliver the guest lecture. Sir has completed MBBS from Guntur Medical College in 1979 and MD in Preventive and Social Medicine from AIIMS New Delhi in 1985. Sir has also done MSc in Community Eye Health at the Institute of Ophthalmology.
I can't help it. Fortunately for all of us, there was a snack in between, so you can't complain. I spent a long time in AIIMS Delhi, 26 years to be true to the date. But the 3.5 years that I spent in Sevagram perhaps are the most momentous, because each of those years has given me 3 excellent colleagues here. Dr. Vikas Bhatia, the director, Dr. Rahul Narang and Dr. Nitin John, the deans. So each year has given me one of the luminaries at the AIIMS Bibinagar. So that's a very happy note for me. Another happy thing is that the entire country today has a solar eclipse, excepting Hyderabad. So Dr. Vikas, you've chosen the right day, that you don't see the solar eclipse in Hyderabad. And of course, tomorrow happens to be the new year for people in Andhra and Maharashtra. So Gudi Padava and Ugadi. So I think you've actually positioned your Founders Day for the maximum benefit with no interference from the Lords above, so that you don't have any problems with the solar eclipse. So great to be here. What I'll try and do is the excellent talks that Professor Chawla and Dr. Meenu Singh have actually spoken about and looked at why we need research, what are the sort of questions that we need to ask, where are we in terms of the research paradigm globally, and what are the gaps. And I look at the application of that. And I look at something which, to the date, 6 years from now, we'll be asking ourselves, has anybody been left behind in the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals? And that is why working for people with disabilities, looking at their health concerns, is something which is of great interest and a work of passion for me. We have a lot of definitions when we look at disability, and many of us in the medical sector not looking at health, in the medical sector, we look at disability as something wrong with the body. So take a hammer and tongs and then just try to set it. But unfortunately, that is not what disability is. It is looking at the barriers that society puts in for a person who has an impairment to be able to work, earn a living, and be productive, have a socially productive life. The barriers that society puts in is disability that we refer to. And therefore, we've slowly moved away from what we used to call as impairment, which is what I talked about, tinkering the bones and the muscles, to disability, which obviously means that if the society is creating barriers, then obviously there is a right on every individual to try and see that those barriers are removed. And therefore, in the 90s, when we had the UN passing a resolution on the rights of persons with disabilities, it very specifically looked at health as being one of the important aspects when you look at the lives of people with disabilities. And when it looked at that, it also realized that there was a lack of data on the public health concerns of people with disabilities. And it also realized that you need this evidence to talk about the magnitude, the causes, what are the sort of activity limitations that people experience, and the restrictions to social participation, which then means that this data can be used to try and develop interventions which cater to the needs of people with disabilities. And the gaps in evidence are many. The first and foremost, like I just mentioned, is the variation in how you define disability. Who is a person with disability? And there is something which we need to work towards, a uniform structure across the globe. I talked about impairment, and if I look at disability, what we are looking at is more in terms of what is the functional status of an individual. It's not the organ that is important, it's how that organ is allowing that individual to function. And we look at 6 basic functions as being very critical to the lives of people with disabilities. The other gap that we look at is the way we collect evidence. Most of the evidence that is collected is through a census mechanism, where one of the most appalling questions that can be asked is still the rule. We go and ask, is there anybody who's disabled at your home? And that is such a negative connotation that nobody would actually like to mention that they have a trouble. And therefore these different gaps that exist, we need to look at how we can actually tackle them. So there is an understanding that we now need to move towards a better way of comprehending disability, and people have looked at would a clinical dimension help, or do we need to go much beyond a clinical dimension? So if you're looking at a clinical dimension, you're looking at a clinical examination obviously, but also using tools like the clinical depression tools and so many other tools that are available today. But at the end of the day, it is the individual whose functioning is more important. It is the individual's needs that have to be looked at. And therefore, the Washington Group, which is part of the United Nations and the World Bank, together developed the functional questionnaires which look at activity, limitation, and social participation. So like I mentioned, the census questions, which are self-reported and quite a demeaning question to ask, does not answer or does not capture the entire gamut of functionality. And neither does clinical examination do enough justice to the functionality. And therefore perhaps we are in a situation where a combination of clinical examination with functional questionnaires can actually serve us better in looking at the needs of people with disabilities. Questionnaire based, like I said, because of the stigma attached, give you a much lower estimate, a gross underestimate as we can see in some of the cases, or even a feeling of shame on the part of the individuals. When they talk about a child who's disabled, there is shame writ on their faces when they answer to that sort of a question. There is also a cultural dimension. So blindness and hearing, which are two of the most important impairments which cause disability, people accept it as part of the elderly process, and therefore they say, oh, we are getting old and therefore we are blind, or we can't see properly, or that we can't hear properly. But that is an escapist attitude, because it is not allowing you to capture that that itself is an impairment which is leading to a disability. The census figures generally we find correlate better with the severe forms of an impairment, where the disability levels may actually be very high. So I just mentioned the Washington group questions. It looks at 6 dimensions. It looks at vision, it looks at hearing, the importance of self-care. Am I able to bathe myself, clothe myself, and looking at cognition, looking at mobility, am I able to climb stairs, and then grades that into 4 categories. The most severe of that, that is the inability to do an activity, is something which correlates with the census figures, which is a very high degree of functional disability. This was initially only for adults, but now we have a child module too, which is very, very useful. So what is the global magnitude when you look at not the census figures, but the functional element of disability? You're looking at about 1 billion people, and this is data from 2010. You can extrapolate that by another 20%. You don't have more recent evidence on a global scale, but this itself is frightening, that that is the proportion of people, number of people globally who need their cares to be met. Majority of them are adults, and the more you live, the more the problems for health and more the disabling that you are in. So severe disability is about 100 million out of that 1 billion, which still is a very significant number. So Hyderabad, Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta, Chennai put together, and perhaps Bangalore, is the number of people who are severely functionally disabled globally. More recently, we have the Disability Data Initiative, and we are part of that from Hyderabad. And we are looking at data that is available on functional limitations across different countries. So at the moment, we have data from 41 countries for the period 22-23. And what you find is amongst people above the age of 15, about 12%, 12.5% is the sort of median prevalence of functional disabilities. The gradations, or across countries there is a massive variation. So Philippines reported a low functional disability compared to Colombia, which reported nearly half of the people having a functional disability. And this is actually linked directly to the quality of life of individuals within these countries, and therefore that can also have a bearing on the functional limitations. Higher in the rural areas, older populations and women with disability outnumber men with disability. And if you look at the problems that women with disability face, they are much more severe and intense compared with men with disability. So this is that busy slide where I talked about 48% in Colombia having disability, the highest proportion of people with disability, and Philippines. We don't have India here in this. The reason being that India has not started collecting functional disability questions on a national scale. We do have evidences which are available locally, but no national estimate available. I'll allude to some of those local estimates. So Disability Data Report of 2023, the Disability Data Initiative, which is now ongoing into the year 3. So you find that the share of adults with functional disability varies across the different parts. In the South Asia region, if you look at, we have Pakistan there, and we have Maldives, both not very friendly now at the present moment, even if you are a tourist. And you find that across the world, irrespective of the socio-economic status of those countries, the proportion of people who report a lot of difficulty, which is equivalent to, like I said, the census estimates of severe disability, is across the countries very similar. We look at a 5% cutoff as something which is significant, and all the countries where these studies have been done show that it is above 5%, irrespective of the social fabric of the communities. Multidimensional poverty, which looks at both the educational attainment as well as your income or expenditures. Instead of just looking at the income, you're looking at the benefit of income translating into social benefits. I'm sorry, I didn't do anything. Thank you. So you are my pair of spectacles if I have visual impairment. So adults, you find that right across in all difficulty domains, multidimensional poverty, starting from perhaps individuals who have no physical impairment or no functional difficulty, even they have problems. If you take that as the relative comparison, you will find that persons with disability, whether it is for self-care, mobility, cognition, hearing, or in seeing, they have significantly higher problems compared to those who do not report any disability. So let's look at India, the disability data in the Indian context, and we have a combination of the census estimates, which give you the severe and extreme, and you have the functional estimates. So if you look at the census to 2001, it was about 2.1%, whereas the latest NFHS, which included disability, the sixth round of NFHS is not including disability. The fifth round included disability, it was 4.5% because they asked 5 questions instead of a single question like the census in 2001. The World Health Survey pegged it at 25% of the total population reporting some degree of functional disability. And the World Bank, the report that I mentioned, looked at 8% in India as the estimate. So there is a wide variation. If you look at functional limitation, it is toward the higher side. But when you're looking at providing services, you have to take that into consideration and not take the escapist attitude that everybody is malingering, which is not true. We've used the rapid method more recently in India, and we developed a tool called the Rapid Assessment of Disability Tool, which we used in Prakasham in Andhra. We've used it in Hyderabad, Rangareddy district also, Rangareddy district, and we find that when you look at functional disability, if you just leave out Sri Lanka at the bottom, you'll find that there is a lot of similarity and overlap in the proportion of the population, the adult population which reports functional disabilities. Sri Lanka, a much better health system, primary care system, and therefore this is before COVID. We expect that it would be lower than what we find in other parts of South Asia, which was what was borne out in these studies here. Bibinagar, one of the highest, it is one of the most backward areas of Telangana, and therefore we expect the disability, multidimensional poverty to be related, and therefore you find that the data, that the more backward, the more rural, the higher the prevalence of disability. The higher prevalence, multidimensional poverty, which includes education, age, like I said, the elderly, literacy. Marital status is more of an association, because if you are disabled, finding a partner is also very difficult. So it's sort of association which one would not give too much importance to. Same with unemployment. If you are disabled, then the opportunity to gain employment is very limited. Age is the most important determinant, and you look at Bibinagar data, there's hardly any difference between males and females. There is an overlap in the confidence interval, so I would not look at that as a difference. But if you look at age, those above the age of 50 have a significantly higher, nearly 20 times higher suffering with disability compared to children below 15. The problem is that the health needs of a person with disability, they have more health needs, but unfortunately, they are twice more likely not to be able to get proper skills, thrice more likely to be denied health care, and 4 times more likely to be treated very badly by the health system. And this is not fiction. This is based on evidence that has been collected. And therefore the challenge is that 50% of people with a disability, they cannot afford health care. And unfortunately, disability increases the healthcare expenditure by another 50%. So the problem of suffering catastrophic health expenditure if you're disabled is 50% higher compared to the rest of the population. While if you are disabled, then many of them are not able to afford health care. So it's a double whammy in that sense when you look at people with disability. When you compare them with the general population, you look at the health needs, the primary health condition is the impairment, and that only these people, that is persons with disability, have that need. Just like the rest of the population, they also suffer comorbid conditions like diabetes, hypertension, depression, and we find the rates of these non-communicable diseases is significantly higher amongst people with disabilities. Look at the specialist healthcare required for them. For example, how do you do a wheelchair-bound person, how do you do an MRI? That's a question which troubles me along with many other health professionals. How do you do a normal delivery for a woman who's wheelchair-bound? And many people in the primary health system, they say, no, this is not something we can handle. We refer you immediately to the nearest urban center. So they have needs which are much more acute than the rest of the population. And like the rest of us, all of us, they suffer fever, gastroenteritis. It doesn't have to be Bangalore Medical College Girls Hospital, where 49 girls yesterday had acute gastroenteritis. It could be any of us, but they also suffer similarly. When I look at the Disability Data Initiative again, in 37 of the 39 countries, households which had a person with functional disability, they spent much more on health care than in the rest of the communities. And when I look at the two which data is available from our vicinity, so in Bangladesh and West Bank of Gaza, unfortunately pray for all those souls losing their lives unnecessarily. Households with any functional disability dedicate 50% more to the health needs of that particular member. And we are talking about sustainable development goals where affordability is one of the critical elements that we need to consider. And this is just looking at the sort of household expenditure. If you do not have any difficulty, if it is 4% in Bangladesh, if you have a person with difficulty, it increases 1/3 to 6%. Nearly across all the countries that we looked at, excepting maybe Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Nigeria, where it was the same whether you had a disability or not, but in most other countries, at least a 1/3 higher increase in household expenditure if you have a person with disability. Let's come back to the neighborhood of AIIMS Bibinagar, and this is Bibinagar, where we did a major survey study. When you look at children with disability, they were 11 times more likely not to be in school. They were 6 times more likely to be in a lower grade if they were in school, and 4 times more likely to have a health problem reported in the past 1 year of recall. Look at adults, 3 times more likely to be in the poorest quartile in the social cycle, 5 times more likely to be unemployed in the past week, and like children, 4 times more likely to have had reported a health problem in the past 12 months. So health is a major problem for all people with disability, whether you're a child or an adult. We also found that the hospitalization rates were significantly higher for persons with disability compared to those without a disability. Those on current medication, 9.4% compared to 5.1, which is nearly a double. 12% known diabetics, so a significantly high proportion. Also because most of the physically impaired are not active, and therefore the risks of a sedentary lifestyle combined with stress increases both hypertension and diabetes. We also find feeling very low, which is one of the proxy signs for depression, is also much higher. So they have those health needs which are much higher, but their access to healthcare is poor. Reaching clinics, again significant difference in the proportion we're able to reach a health facility amongst people with disability. Improper staff behavior, because people feel that if you're disabled, you have no right in society. And the unfortunate attitudinal change which has to be brought in very quickly. And under the leadership that we see here, I'm sure that within AIIMS Bibinagar, that sort of an attitude would not persist. The building not being user friendly, this again is a major problem, and cost of transportation if they need a health service. So barriers to access can be either physical or socio-cultural, from what I've just mentioned. And I'll just take the example of an accessibility audit we did at the Osmania General Hospital exactly 2 years ago. And look at it. The ramp was inconvenient and not easily visible. No continuous handrail, so the handrail was broken in parts. If somebody has to move the handrail and climb up, us to look at. And if there are no designated spaces for people with disability, the counters where the cards were being made are very high. Once you are a person not accessible to a person in a wheelchair, to be looked at, you need automatic or revolving doors when you have disability. Your chair can go in and out without the evidence, some of the evidence that obstacles in the corridor, especially. And to look at how we can empower people with disabilities, inaccessible elevators, through the inaccessible toilets organizations, water tap not being accessed organizations, and very poor signage for people, individuals with disability. This was a study we did. There's dispersed all over. They're not located in one. I do not think that things would have changed. Involving these community-based organizations, we need to bring in that change. Public health intervention at the AIIMS new building, we would not have these problems. These are our also looked at studying the needs of health for all during COVID in the 1980s, find whether it was health for all the aspects, whether it is for a vision, whether it is for a diagnostic process, whether it was for outpatient services, or getting a prescription, or getting some information on other mental health issues. And when it is all people with disabilities have significant problems during COVID in that definition. So what is it that we have to attain sustainable? Our public health intervention cannot happen without these to encompass the entire world of people with disabilities. And therefore, the first is we engage there any technology, how do we bring in their organizations and improve access, along with the evidence, what are the interventions that we can bring in, is something that we need to work towards. So mind the gap and leave no one behind. If 6 years later, if you want to say that we've done a good job, then this needs attention. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the passionate talk and advocacy on the burden of disability. and for highlighting the need The second prize is awarded to Dr. Sai Krishna Tikka, Assistant Professor in the Department. The second prize is awarded to Dr. Sai Krishna Tikka, Assistant Professor in the Department of Psychiatrics, Screen Device, Third prize is awarded to Psychiatrist Additional Professor in the Department of Biology. Third prize is awarded to Additional Professor in the Department of Biology. And the e-poster infectiousness and patients with silent tuberculosis across with infectiousness and patients with pulmonary tuberculosis across spectrum cohorts. Consolation prize goes to Dr. Kalyani SDL, additional professor in the department. Consolation prize goes to Dr. Kalyani SDL, the e-poster additional professor in the department. Air becomes anesthesiology. Cost analysis of different medical sources for a healthcare. Air becomes cost analysis of different medical oxygen sources for a healthcare facility in India. Thank you, Manager. I now request our guest, Professor Dr. Julius Mortison, to come forward. I now request our guest in the senior resident category, Julius Mortison, to come forward. There are a total of 20 prizes to the senior resident category. Suraj Kumar, Professor from the Department of Neurology posters, and these were judged by Dr. Neeraj Kumar, Professor from the Department of Neurology, from the Department of Margaret, Additional Professor from the Department of Physiology, and Dr. Ranjit from the Department of Orthopedics. Dr. Yogesh Chawla sir to join to give the prizes. I request Dr. Yogesh Chawla sir to awarded to the prizes and Kalpana from the Department of Pharmacology. First prize is awarded for the title Efficacy of Problem with Antihistamines in patients with chronic spondylitis. Efficacy of problems with antihistamines in patients with chronic spontaneous urticaria around control study. The second prize is awarded to Dr. Anish Warge from the Department of Anesthesiology. The second prize is awarded to Dr. Anish Warge from the Department of Anesthesiology to confirm candidates to diabetic surgery in patient access block as a diagnostic tool to confirm candidates for diabetic surgery in a patient with major artery treatment syndrome. The third prize is awarded to Dr. Manas Saxena from the Department of Neurology. The third prize is awarded to Dr. Manas Saxena for hemipalastomas, a rare complication of uncontrolled diabetes mellitus. Hemichloria hemipalastomas, a rare complication of uncontrolled diabetes mellitus. The consolation prize goes to Dr. K. Sumana Reddy from the Department of General Medicine. To the e-poster title prize goes to Dr. K. Sumana Reddy from the Department of General Medicine. To the e-poster title Clinical Profile of Adults with Inherent Heredity. I request Dr. Shobhi sir. Thank you, sir. I now request our guest, Professor Dr. Rajendra sir, to come forward to give away the prizes. I now request our guest, Professor Dr. Rajendra Singh sir, to come forward to give away the prizes in the junior residence category. There were a total of 28 e-posters, and these were judged by a team of 4 judges. Dr. Shashank Panda, additional professor from the Department of Pediatrics, and these were judged by a team of 4 judges. Dr. Shashank Panda, additional professor from the Department of Pediatrics, associate professor from radiology, additional professor from associate professor from Annapurna as associate professor from radiology. The first prize is awarded to Associate Professor Ajay from the Department of Psychiatry. The first prize is awarded to Dr. Sakiti Ajay from the Department of Psychiatry to therapy. The e-poster title Breaking Through Trauma, Successful Use of Oral Treatment Therapy and Complex PTSD. The second prize is awarded to Dr. B. Prashant Kumar. Second prize Childhood onset progressive dystonia Parkinson's pediatrics, hypermagnesemia, diarrheal diagnostic challenge. Childhood onset progressive dystonia Parkinsonism with hypermagnesemia, diarrheal diagnostic challenge. The third prize goes to Dr. Raviteja P. from the Department of Anatomy. The third prize goes to Dr. Raviteja P. from the Department of Anatomy. Congenital vascular Unraveling the diagnosis of single limb emancipation of the brain. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I now request Dr. Nitin Ashok Johnson, Dean Examination, and Dr. Abhishek. I now request Dr. Nitin Ashok Johnson, Dean Examination, prizes and Dr. Abhishek, Student Category, sir. Medical Superintendent, 12 posters were presented, prizes for undergraduate student judges, including Dr. Total of 12 posters were presented, Associate Professor for Psychiatry judges, Dr. Associate Professor for Pediatrics, and Associate Professor for Psychiatry from Dr. S. Associate Professor for Pediatrics, and Dr. Gomudi R. Associate Professor from Community Medicine. The first prize in the students category goes to Ms. Aileen Shaji. The first prize in the students category goes to I request Ms. Aileen Shaji, the guide from Department of Environmental Medicine and Family Medicine. I request Dr. Gomudi, the guide from Department of Community Medicine and Family Medicine, to declare based the prize foods availability and utilization. The e-poster was titled Based children's foods availability and utilization across sectional studies. The second prize goes to Priyanka Padmar from MBBS 2021 batch. The second prize goes to Focal Liver Patnaik from MBBS 2021 batch. The e-poster titled Association with What in the China Department of Efficiency Syndrome and Modern Association. The third prize is awarded to Mr. AIIMS Bibinagar and Mr. Radu Mohammed. The MBBS prize is awarded to Mr. AIIMS Bibinagar and Mr. Radu Mohammed from MBBS Department batch and two lectures certified triangle of awareness service from the Department of Anatomy. The consolation prize is awarded to Steffi Maria Lal and Vishnu Sharan. Consolation prize is awarded to batch for the e-poster Steffi Maria Lal and Vishnu Sharan in collaboration of the 2023 batch to the left poster title from the Department of Non-Incorporation of the Common Primary and to the left ATM from the Department of Anatomy. Thank you, sir. I now request the director. Thank you, sir. I now request the director, Dr. of India, for her momentous contribution and for serving the people of Telangana.
She is doing wonderful work in East and UP. In ESI, they have COVID maintain there and phones which federal ESI लगाते हैं इसमें. And on ECG like India में first time किया है. She is connecting with schools, adolescent colleges, particularly residential from poor families. So she is doing wonderful work. She is really good.
I request the director to present certificates of appreciation to faculty and staff who have completed the maximum number of courses under Mission Karmayogi Bharat, National Program for Civil Services Capacity Building. Dr. Durgesh Prasad Sahu, Assistant Professor in the Department of Community Medicine and Family Medicine, for completing 123 courses.
Various aspects on administration, finance, online. So he has done 123. Right now it's 130. Yesterday it's completed. पता लग गया था मिलने वाला. How many nominated? 400, 500, 500. So you all are expected, why we are doing it, honoring him, to motivate you all faculty, students can exempt, they can learn if they want, and residents, every nursing officer, all please do it, very helpful. It's a government of India school, please do it. Very good.
Ms. Nikita Singh, nursing officer, completing 55 courses.
55 courses. Note sheet nutrition, hotels, GMM marketplace, e-proceedings, storage, like this, storage, general administration, note sheet and all that is available.
Mr. Suraj Kumar Meena, nursing officer, for having completed 51 courses. That brings us to the end of this session. To conclude today's proceedings, I call upon Professor
Good afternoon to one and all. A heartfelt thank you to everyone who has contributed to this Foundation Day celebration. Director sir gave us very little time, just 2 weeks, to conduct this, and I'm very, very grateful to our chief guest, Padma Shri Professor Dr. Yogesh Chavla, Dr. Meenu Singh, and Dr. Murthy. We have taken, I have specifically noted key points from all your presentations. Sir, your slide on what we should do in the next 2-3 years on innovations and research has been noted. Ma'am, we will direct all our PG students to write more systematic reviews on their PhD dissertations. I mean, these are low-hanging fruits which I have taken. And Murthy sir, from research cell of AIIMS Bibinagar, I would like to express our interest in doing a disability survey for Yadadri Bhunagiri district, and under the chairmanship of Director AIIMS Bibinagar and your help and support, we have 6 villages which we have adopted, plus we have about 16 villages under One Health ecosystem project. So we start with these villages and we extend throughout the district. And the data used, we shall try to make improvements in our hospital. We shall try to get our PG students, UGs, to do new innovations to make their life better. And also from the data used, we shall try to have some kind of research so that their life becomes better. Your lecture was really eye-opening, and thank you, sir. My special regards to all the Scientific Advisory Committee and IC members of AIIMS Bibinagar, particularly to Professor Suryanarayan Raju and Dr. Swayam Pragya for taking part and coming physically. I am indeed grateful to one and all. I also thank my colleagues, Dr. Narang, Dr. John, Dr. Abhishek Arora, Dr. Agrawal for all, and the DDA, Dr. Bipin Varghese, for helping our team to conduct this. And the students of 2019 batch are here, and they have seen this institute grow. They have witnessed the first foundation day, and I really thank you for all your patience, for being with us, specifically because you are the first batch of our institute, and we are really proud of you. My special regards to IT team, housekeeping staff and other supporting staff of AIIMS. And finally, I would like to acknowledge that it was possible because of teamwork and our Foundation Day team with Dr. Praful as organizing secretary, Dr. Mridula as co-chairperson, Alka, Gunmanti, Prashant, Rohit, and Dr. Siddharth Rao, the nursing faculty who were involved and nursing officers involved. If I have left out anyone, please forgive me. But without their help, I don't think I could have really done any justice to this. And also to my core research family, Dr. Mridula, Dr. Monica, Dr. Madhvi and Dr. Gerhard. Actually, family members don't require thank you. They rise up to the occasion and do the work. And I will also specially thank Maheshwari, Uma and Uttam. A big hand of applause for all three of them. Thank you everyone and Jai Hind. Thank you.
ఫోన్తో అంటే ఆ సార్ ఉందా ఆ సార్ నేను వీడియో తీస్తాను వీడియో అతనే ఉంటుందిలే ఓ ఇట్లా తిప్పాలా అన్న నువ్వు ఫోటోలు తీసుకోవాలి ఫోటోలు ఏమి తీసుకుంది ఫోటోలు రావు కదా ఫోటోలు వస్తే అక్కడ కొట్టు ఆడ కొడతా కానీ వీడియో తీయద్దు అదేంటి బ్యాక్ రమ్మని చెప్పాను దీనికి వస్తలేదు అందరూ సార్ ప్రశాంత్ సార్ బ్యాక్ చేస్తారు బ్యాక్ ఇంకోసం కుద్దేను కదా నా వర్కింగ్ కెమెరా దిగా